Welcome back to Sea Glass Archaeology, everybody. It's early in the morning and I'm taking my doggies for their walk so that we can get on the bus and head to North Sydney, which is one of the oldest seaports in North America. You know, it's a great place to look for volume, and I haven't been there since last September, which is about 13 months ago. So I'm really excited to see what's on there because it's been really windy the past few days and we still can't get down to my shorelines. It's always such a nice trip on the bus, but I am so happy to be here, everybody. Welcome to Indian Beach in North Sydney. You know, as I said, it's been about a year since the last time I was here, and this beach is one of the oldest ports in North America. There's so much marine traffic that has been coming in and out of here over the centuries, and as it was a common practice, they would just dump their discards over the side, so I really never know what I'm gonna find, but the one thing I really do expect to find here is a lot of volume. So I can see there's somebody out there with a doggy and they're already picking. I can't wait to get out there and join them, so let's see what we find. The one thing that I love about this beach so much, everyone, is that there's little pieces of sea glass all over. You can see there's one even sitting on this big rock right over here. I've come a long way to just realize that I left my knee pads at home, and I'm really after a lot of volume, so I definitely expect to spend most of the day on my knees looking for tinies like these ones over here. I've already found 4 blues in my first couple of feet in these little piles because there's just so much sea glass. It's just too much to pick for one person. I'm really happy to be here so early, and I'm happy that the beach is cycled because sometimes during the summer it can become exhausting. And what that means is it becomes overpicked because there's so many people out here that are coming on vacation and they're looking for their own treasures to take home with them. And you know what? I really can't blame them. Well, everybody, here I am. I'm on my knees and doing what I love to do. I'm picking these tiny little pieces of sea glass. There's so many all around me, and I'm just in my glory. There's a few people up the beach, so I'm gonna let them have what's on the surface. I believe in freedom of beach, as you might have heard me say in the past. So they can pick what's on the top, and when they're done, I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna do some digging, and we're gonna see what we find. There's so many tiny little pieces right over here. It's a little microscopic blue. It's really hard to see, and I just can't get enough of these blues. Oh, here's another one. I just can't find enough of these blues before it gets really cold this winter, and then I'm gonna spend all winter making pretty things. We have 94 cruise ships slated to stop in Sydney, Nova Scotia next year, starting on the 14th of May. I really hope that one of you watching is gonna come visit me on one of those cruise ships next year. It's so great when I get to connect with people. Another blue, yeah, I love it. Another blue, yeah. They're all really small, but they all count, everyone, I'll tell you that. These natural tiny little pieces of cobalt blue from old Vicks bottles and old Noxzema. Oh, there's another one right over here. Even from a milk of magnesia or a Bromo seltzer. Those are the common origins for these little pieces of blue, and that's why we find such tiny specks of them. A lot of times the bottles were thicker than like a soda bottle, so they tend to last in the smallest little shards. Check this one out, everybody. I just made my first big score of the day. Hopefully there's going to be more to come. You can see that it's a beautiful, bright sea marble. I'm going to say it's about 12 millimeters, so it's been reduced, and it's a really unique pattern. It's not the kind of pattern that I'm used to seeing or I've seen on my beaches, and that's pretty much what I expect when I come out here to the north side. I really never know what I'm going to find, and I have found some spectacular marbles on this beach in the past. You can see I'm digging right here on the high tide mark. I've just snaked my way across about 6 feet because I'm finding some nice sized pieces, and then lo and behold, this marble right over here presented itself. There's not a lot of big pieces of glass on this beach, but when it comes down to volume, this has to be one of the best ratios of glass per pebble that I've ever seen. It's a lot better than Glace Bay, although the pieces are not as well rounded. So this is what I'm looking at over here, everybody. You can see there's just piece after piece after piece. So I'm back to work, everybody. I just wanted to show you how much glass there really is all over this beach right at the low tide mark. Now check out this beautiful ceramic shard that I just came across, everybody. It's a little bit smaller than my fingernail, and it was just sitting a little bit in the shadow like this, so I'm guessing everybody was walking in this direction and they missed it. Well, I'm really happy to be taking this one home, and then you can see right over here, it's like the smallest little shell in the whole world, and there's just so much small sea glass here. I'm trying to pick as much as I can. So I'm still at the high tide mark and I'm nowhere near the end of the beach. Sometimes I find these scrappy pieces of glass over here, and this one, you know, it's a nice little color. And then I found this clear one and I turned it over, and check it out. You can see the lettering. It says AS Hins, then you can see Canada Limited. This is a piece over here that I remember kind of as a rhyme. The Hins sounds like hands because this is a cream, a hand, skin, and face cream. And the A, it doesn't stand for almond, but it reminds me that this is an almond and honey hand cream. There's a good chance that a lot of people actually use this in North Sydney and Sydney mines, where they each had a population of about 20,000 people when something like this would have been produced. My guess is about 1920. So this is a really nice little piece of cultural history, and there's a chance you might actually find something like this out your way as well. Okay, everyone, I can just see the tip of it right over here. It looks like it's a beautiful piece of blue that is not cobalt, and I'm right. Now look at this beautiful color. A beautiful blue like this might actually originate from an old signaling lens that could have been out here in the 1800s. It's not too big, but it's an absolutely stellar find here on the shorelines of North Sydney on Indian Beach. Another brown. Oh, I can see, look, there's a piece right over here. I almost picked up that shell, but this one was really hard to see for people. Oh, and then look right over here. There's definitely another piece that people couldn't see. Check this out right over here. I don't know if you can see the glow through the camera, but this is definitely a dark piece of green, like a piece of pirate glass, if you will. This is probably an 1800s find. Let's pick it up and take a look. Well, it's got a little bit of mold markings on it, like earlier mold markings, because you can see that the inside of the wall right over here had a huge air bubble. So this here probably would have been a turn of the century, like late 18, early 1900s bottle. It's even got this little air bubble in it over here, which we usually use to indicate that a piece of glass is antique. This one's really great. I guess a lot of people had walked by it. There's so many footprints. I haven't even stepped over here one bit, and people had missed these two pieces, and I guess they missed this brown one as well. And since I'm here, I'm also going to pick up this green. This is great, guys. I still haven't even got to the end of the beach over here, as you can see. I'm just finding a lot of great stuff. This is what the bag looks like so far. And now check out this cobalt blue nugget, everybody. Once again, it's right at the high tide mark. I guess it's really not that big of a nugget, but still it's about a ½ an inch. It's pretty thick, and I'm just surprised to see it because I'm finding a lot of cobalt blue, but it's really tiny specks. This is definitely the biggest one of the day. I don't know if you can see it, everybody, but there's a microscopic tiny little piece of red right over here. It just looks like a tiny little peewee compared to this amber brown, and even the smaller clear. It sounds like there's a helicopter passing overhead. The tide is definitely dropping, and I think this is a place that nobody has had a chance to pick yet. Well, here we have the changing of the guard. You can see there's one ferry that's leaving North Sydney right now. It's headed to Newfoundland, while the second ferry is coming in to dock right now, and it's coming from Newfoundland. It was common for the ferries to discard their rubbish overboard just as they were coming into port. So a lot of the sea glass that we're finding out here actually could very well originate from the marine ferries from a generation past. Here we go. I'm going to move a little bit, and you can see that these pieces of sea glass, they just appear especially. Oh, look at this one right over here. Like, that is jewelry quality. I could make some earrings out of that one. This one's going to go on a bracelet as well. So these are some great finds, and that's what I'm doing, is I'm lifting the top layer where everybody else has surface scratched. I'm recovering all of these great finds. But this is a public beach, and as I said, there are quite a few people around me today, which is what I would expect. So for that reason, I'm trying to keep a little bit of a low profile right now, which is kind of hard for me to do, being that I make videos on sea glass. See, look, oh, I just dropped it, but I don't know if you saw that. There's a beautiful blue. Here it is right over here. There's the blue. It's sitting right there at the tip of my fingers. Now check this out, everybody. It's another tiny little microscopic piece of red, although this one is so much brighter than the one that we found previously. I'm happy to have them both. They're both going to be put to good use. They might become noses on a reindeer. I'm almost at the end of the beach, everybody. It's been about an hour and a half since I got here, and I can't believe I haven't made it yet. I just wanted to say that it's kind of amazing how many finds I'm finding right here at the low tide mark where nobody's picked before. There's a lot more larger pieces here, and I guess it's that old expression, the early bird gets the worm, holds true, because all of the spots that were higher up, I found a lot of great smaller pieces, but over here now, all of a sudden, these spots that nobody's had a chance to pick yet, I'm definitely starting to find some larger pieces and some brighter and larger cobalt blues, because it's the first chance anyone's had to see what the ocean has to offer at the low tide for this day. Look at this beautiful hybrid bonfire shard right over here, everybody. You can see that there's two different types of glass. There's a light amber brown, and then there's a clear. At heats over 550 degrees, these two glasses become malleable, and then they bond together in a bonfire or a rubbish pit, which was very common to do out here. You would just burn your rubbish, and there's so many neat little tinies all around me. You can see right over here, there's a tiny little fragment of an old ceramic plate over here, and more little tinies than I could ever pick. I'm gonna give it my best shot though, everyone, so let's keep going. And now check out the hue of this little manganese piece of sea glass over here. With the breakout of World War I, we know that glass like this was only made before 1913 because the manganese was no longer available to be used in glass production. Okay, everyone, so I found some large rocks, and this is where I want to be digging, is right over here. It's where the armor rock was met by the high tide mark. Now, a lot of people have surface scratched this area, but I can just see right here that there's tons of sea glass that no one has picked yet. So you can see right here, there's an amber brown, there's a whole bunch more green, and these are all good size for me. So I think I'm gonna put the camera down for just a little bit here, and we're gonna see what we find. There's a lot of nice sea glass out here, everybody, just in this pile in the shade, and there's quite a few people on the beach as well. I don't blame them. It's early November. It's absolutely beautiful in Cape Breton today. Tiny little blue. Oh yeah, guys, there's a marble right here. It's tough. It's getting really hard for me to see the sea glass because I'm in the shade over there. But look at this, there's a marble right over there, and it was hiding in the shadows. So let me get it a little closer here, maybe you all can see it. It's a pretty good size, you know, I'd still say it's about 14 millimeters, so it's close to the original size. And it's really, really frosty, and that's something that I've noticed about the marbles out here, and that has to do with the pH balance in the water. So there'd probably be like some high alkaline levels, and that makes these marbles really, really frosty compared to some other ones that I've seen around Cape Breton Island that get recovered. So I'm really happy about this piece right over here. Like I said, there's a few people on the beach over there, and you always want to be respectful. That's awesome, everyone. That's my second marble of the day. I have to say though, I wish I had brought something for my hair. It's pretty windy out. I guess I really shouldn't complain. I'm happy to be here. Oh, it's a beautiful shell. I guess I'm always just happy to be here. Who couldn't be happy on the beach? I don't know. It'd be hard up to meet someone who's not happy out here looking for sea glass. I just found another awesome scrappy little piece, everybody. You can see it's 20th century clear glass, but it's got the word cola on it, and then you can see the letter R right over here. So there's a chance that maybe this is a Royal Crown cola bottle, and this got thrown over by the ferry coming in from Newfoundland, and this was probably drank in abundance on that ferry as well. So there's probably a chance you could find more of them, and it even looks like it's a little bit thicker too, so it's probably like early half of the 20th century. It's so hard to believe that we've been here 2 hours, everybody. I filled my first bag. I'm working on my second bag right now, and we don't have to leave until about 4 o'clock. So I've got 3 hours, and right now, wow, right now I'm sitting at the highest tide mark, and I'm digging deeper than everybody else has surface scratched, and the pieces are considerably larger than they are down at the low tide and on the surface where everybody's picked. So this is probably what this is a nice little piece here. It's kind of fused together. This is probably what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of hours. I really need the volume, and especially making the trip on the bus, and it's almost 2 hours each direction. I'm going to have to sit here and pick my fingers to the bone, and I appreciate you all being patient with me and coming along for this ride. There's nothing better than planning and preparing, making the trip, taking a chance. Oh, wow. Look at that as I'm talking. Look at the size of this old nugget right over here, everybody. Probably from an old wine bottle. That's the kind of color we'd expect to see. A great find. Like I said, underneath the surface right here. Oh, someone's coming, everyone, sorry. But underneath the surface over here, like I said, it hasn't been looked at, and I'm right at the high shelf. And it's usually these pebbles that are a little bit bigger, not the super tiny ones, where we're gonna find this great stuff. And then right here, there's a little cobalt blue again. And this is really what I need the most, are these tiny little microscopic blues. Another one. And then I find another one and lose it. Come on, there it is. There it is. I got it. There it is. Now look at this amazing find over here, everybody. It's got that amethyst tinge to it, but it's got a very unique shape. So I'm gonna say before I pick this up that this is the stem from an old apothecary stopper, and it broke off. The crown is out there somewhere. Now that I'm holding it in my hand, I'm not 100% sure that this is a stem from an old apothecary stopper, because you can see it's a little bit flat over here. It's not rounded the whole way around. So this might actually be the bottom of an older bottle that was made in the same era. So it's still probably apothecary, but it's just not a stopper, it's an apothecary bottle. Now check this out, everyone. There's people all around me right now, but I want you to see this. It's another piece of red here. Let's try and get it out over here. Look at that. Okay, well, it's not as perfectly aged as I thought it was, but it looked really, really good down there. It's still a really great find. I'm always happy to find a red. So I know that this was once a cat's eye sea marble because it's got this little blue streak in it right over here. You know, it's highly unlikely we're going to find the other 95% of this marble today, but at least we know that there's a lot of marbles out here because we found a few, and now this little fragment right here. These are all just perfect. Just what the doctor ordered. Oh my gosh. It's like a real crinkly piece of bonfire glass right over here. It's a real crinkly little piece. Oh, and here's another one right over here. That's wild. So it's another multi-piece of bonfire glass here. I think I'm too close, everyone. But it's a piece of green sea glass and a piece of clear sea glass, and they fuse together. Nice little blue, nice little blue. Oh, I see another one. There's another nice little blue. Oh, and then look at this one right over here. Okay, everybody, so here's a decent little piece. It's got a little bit of embossing on it. I'm not sure if you can see it right over here. It looks like it's the V from a Javex bottle, or maybe if I turn it upside down, it's the bottom of the A. Either way, it's a light amber, so I know it's from a Javex. There's such a large population out here in North Sydney that it's a very good odds that we would come across something that's from a Javex bottle out here. I think over 20,000 people still live in this community, and I know that that population was prevalent over a century ago, as this has always been a very important seaport, and Javex bleach was something that people had in their houses. It was almost a part of everyday life. It's another tiny little speck of red sea glass right over here. There's a whole bunch of tinies at the high tide mark, and that's where I'm picking right now, and that's where I found this amazing little tiny right over here. I figure if I pick it up, There you go. It's a much different shade than the other ones as well. It's such a great find. I've got less than an hour left, everybody, so the clock is ticking. I don't know if this is going to be the last find I share. I guess we're going to find out. So this is what I just found, everybody. Check it out. It's a beautiful piece of aqua blue sea glass, and it has what appears to be little orange marks in it. So I've talked about this before, about how when you see little bits of orange, little streaks of orange, what happened was iron flux would get inside the molten glass. Here, it's a little bit hard to see, so I'm going to go back over here in the shade, everyone. But what happens is iron flux would get inside the molten glass, and you can see right over here, there's some absolutely fantastic orange little iron hues inside of this glass. And once again, this is a great indicator that something is antique. And I'm pretty sure that when I was here last year, I found something that was very similar to this. We're getting kind of later on in the day, everybody. I'm gonna have to go catch the bus in about 20 minutes, but when we get home, I'm gonna take all of the sea glass here and we're gonna set it out on a tray. We're gonna see what it looks like, we're gonna weigh it, and maybe there's something that I missed when we go through it, and I'm gonna see it and I'm gonna be able to share it with you. It's a new day, everybody, and it's time for the weigh-in. I've got the 2 bags right over here. I was hoping to get about 4 pounds from our trip. This is the first bag. Although I have to say a lot of the pieces that I picked out there were a lot smaller. I was really aiming for small green and amber brown. So we got 1 pound 10. I don't think I'm going to make it here. It's probably about 3.5. We got 3 pounds, 2 ounces, which is 1.43 kilograms for us in other parts of the world. I have to say that about 2 ounces of this is going to be small sand and rock. You can see that there's small little rocks at the bottom of the bags, so that's going to make up for a little bit of the weight. Now the fun part here is going to be to take the scale off, and then we're going to set all of this glass out. So here we go. So I was trying not to pick too much clear. I was making a big emphasis on smaller greens and smaller browns for the ornaments that I shared with you in the last video. And now here's the second bag. And we can see it's a lot of tinies. A lot of tinies. And I have to say that 3 pounds is a pretty good score, considering that it was a beautiful day and there were dozens of people on the beach out there. I still have to wonder how good my pick would have been if I got there a few hours earlier and I was the very first person on the beach, but I'm completely satisfied. And as I always say, I believe in freedom of beach, and there's plenty for everybody to go around. I definitely had a fantastic day out there. Here's a beautiful piece of tableware that we missed the other day. I guess when I found it, it was on this side and I threw it in the bag because I was really harvesting quickly all these tiny little pieces. But if you look right here very, very closely, I can almost see that there's a little face right over here at the top. I'm not sure if that's a coal miner. I'm not exactly sure. Let me know what you think down below, everybody. It's got some beautiful coloring to it. This might even be like a portion of a shamrock. Another thing that I really didn't get to share with everybody are these tiny little shells over here. I love putting these in mini bottles. It's always fun for me when I get to compare the pieces from 2 different spots and show the differences. So over here we have the pieces from our pick from North Sydney, and these are the pieces from Tablehead from last week. You know, right away you can really see a difference where these ones are extremely rounded, and these ones over here are a little bit jagged. It's wild how all the colors over here seem to be 20th century consumer beverage bottles. So we're talking about like beers or pops. There's nothing really that is kind of like an olivey color that we would see from like the turn of the century and earlier, in contrast to when we were out there in Tablehead. This yellow piece right over here could actually be a lens covering that was used by Marconi, and these pieces of olive could actually be some of the wine that they were drinking at that station about 120 years ago. And it's also kind of wild that I wanted to touch on is how dirty these pieces seem in contrast to these pieces. Over here are pieces from the Tablehead pick that I've cleaned and they're ready for my artwork. And then over here we have the pieces that I haven't treated yet. I'm going to be making a video very shortly that shows you how I make the transformation from these pieces that are kind of yellowy and have a lot of iron oxide in it to where they almost look like they're gleaming. Well, everyone, that's going to be about it for this video. I had such an amazing time on the beach, and it's such a pleasure for me to share all of my finds with you. Thanks so much for all of the comments, all of the support, and all of the love. Be sure to let me know what your favorite parts were down below. And if you liked the video, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more Sea Glass Archaeology adventures. Thanks again, everyone. Hopefully we're back on the beach real soon.